Niko on the back end, so please get started in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Adrian. All right, so it looks like we've already passed the 5 minute grace period. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Today we'll be presenting an introduction to our upcoming live sessions for Orboltix. These live sessions will cover cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and also data science. So we'll be going over the latest news that's going on in industry today through these particular sessions. And if you be able to give the introductions before we get started.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. So welcome. This is our first meetup, and we're really excited. As Niko shared, we'll be delving into a lot of topics, all tech. This particular meetup is called Unleash Your Potential. We really are looking to educate folks on development in AI in the workforce. Niko is the founder and CEO of Orboltix, and he is also a trainer in workforce development. He's been doing a lot of training on tech, and we are expanding our network into developing the workforce outside of companies that we normally work with. So thank you everyone who's attending. JJ, you can't see, we do have our internal team that's here and people who are currently in our course. And this is to introduce our course, so if you get a chance to check us out. We're going to be doing just a 30-minute presentation. At the end, we'll do a Q&A, and all questions are welcome. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Niko to get us started. Thanks, Niko.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So for the agenda for today, what will we be going over? So first, of course, we'll go over the introduction to Orboltix so that you can get to know the company. And then we'll be going over some of the industry tactics for Python programming, data analytics, machine learning, and cybersecurity risk management. And then afterwards, as Adrian stated, we'll have the Q&A. All right. So let's go ahead and go over the introduction. So introduction to Orboltix. So who are we? Who is Orboltix? So Orboltix provides software engineering and cybersecurity consulting services and exclusive AI-powered software as a service product. Our mission is to develop a future of unity, hope, and serenity for mankind through technology. And we have our own exclusive products as well, such as the Hip Protect, which is our upcoming video game installation this fall, Steam. We also have a mobile video game for Hip Protect that's out now on iOS and Android. The Phobia, this is our competitor to Zoom and even Google Meets. With the Phobia, you can use absolute privacy and security without the worry of your data being tracked and sold to data brokers. So the Phobia is a major video conferencing platform to combat the abusive nature of big tech today. And also the Goji Apparatus, which is our store. This is our tech store. We have computers, lab supplies, and security equipment in the Goji Apparatus. And these are all a part of the Orboltix family of applications. So that is who we are. That is Orboltix. We have some awesome products. So at the conclusion of this particular talk, be sure to check them out. So now let's go ahead and delve in. We're going to be going over the Python programming chapter next. So what is Python? So Python is classified as a universal programming language. As it has a high plasticity, it can be utilized for many purposes. So you're probably wondering, well, what are some ways that I can utilize Python programming? Well, Python programming can be utilized for software engineering, game development, data analytics, machine and deep learning, which are part of the artificial intelligence umbrella, and even web development. So in terms of the software engineering portion, that and the web development, that all goes hand in hand when it comes to Python. And there are many systems out there that you can utilize Python with. There's React, which is actually JavaScript. And you can incorporate Python into React through Django. So they have an entire infrastructure for web development called Django. They're using them to build platforms and also various software. So let's say that if a company, for example, uh, they require for you to build a new infrastructure for managing clients or customers. You can use Python Django to do just that. So the software engineering and web development portion of Python is very major. It also comes with enhanced cybersecurity built in. So you won't have to do so much heavy lifting. It already has its firewalls in place to make sure that your customers and clients are protected through Python Django. Okay? And even with the data analytics portion.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You got to come in here.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, Niko. Please keep going. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so with the data analytics portion, essentially with Python, you will be able to do a lot with it. And we're going to actually go over the data analytics first. You feel for that. So with data analytics, it is crucial for understanding and explaining the data at hand. Okay? So with the common practices for data analytics, you can do data exploration, which is pretty much getting a data set. So let's say that you get a data set from Excel. Many of these are known as comma separated values, CSV formatted data. So if you get a CSV file from Excel and you put it into Python via a package called pandas. So if you're not familiar with packages, that's essentially how you can only utilize Python. So when you're coding, it will first ask you what package do you use. You'll type in import package name, and then you'll be able to utilize that package. For this, for data exploration, visualization, manipulation, the most popular package in Python is known as pandas. Okay. So with pandas, you can do all your exploration, visualization, manipulation, verification, and it is the most crucial package for any data analyst. Okay. So be sure to check that to your notes. Pandas is what you utilize for most of the data analytics. Okay. And even it has a partner called Matplotlib. That's M-A-T plot and then lib. Like my lib. Matplotlib. So Matplotlib is utilized for the data visualization. That is the major topic today. Okay. And when it comes to the exploration, essentially what you're doing when you're doing the data exploration is getting a data set. With pandas, you turn that data set into something called a data frame. A data frame is simply a table, like a table that you have in Excel, except it's in including entity. Okay? So that is what a data frame is. And once you open up that data frame, then you'll be able to really see your data. You'll have it all formatted in a fashion where you can start your manipulation, where you can start your cleaning, where you can start your visualization process for your data. So that's why it's essential to explore in the data frame format, because then you can see all the tables, you can see all the rows, and you can really start to get into the nitty-gritty. Now let's get on to the last part, your data cleaning. So in most cases with data cleaning, you'll have something in your data set called a NaN value. That's N-A-N value. You can think of it as NA, non-available data. And in many cases, it can mess up your data analysis. Okay? So when you're cleaning that data, you want to make sure that you're able to eradicate those NaN values. And luckily, Pandas has a function where you can get rid of all those NaN values. That particular function method is known as drop-in tag. Okay? So in many cases, you can nickname your Pandas package in the import. You can simply do that by typing import space pandas space as space PD. So PD is the most common nickname for pandas. Okay. And when you want to call a function with pandas, what you do is like PD dot, and then you can put in that particular function. Yes, absolutely. So Python is the most flexible and plastic coding language out there. So it can be used with almost anything, honestly. You can use Python with almost anything. All right. But when you're calling those functions with Python, you'll just write PD dot, and you can put drop it in, and then that will get rid of all of the RAM values that you need when you clean and telling the data. Okay? And that's just a small fragment of the data. All right. So let's go ahead and go over machine learning, which is another beautiful thing that you can do with Python. So Python, with this particular language, you can go deep into artificial intelligence. So it is known that Java can go into it. It is known that even R has some experience with artificial intelligence. But Python is the best language to utilize when building your neural networks and so forth with artificial intelligence, because one, it has very flexible packages. The packages are very easy to use. And on top of that, they have beautiful explanations for each package to assist you. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to this machine learning portion here. Okay, so machine learning is based on what we call neural networks. Okay, and it allows data to be trained, tested, then fit to provide an outcome based on what we call an activation function. So let me see if I can pull up a picture here of a neural network so that you can get an idea as to how it looks. Let's pull up a quick picture of the neural network. All right. And there are many different forms of neural networks out there. You have your deep learning neural networks. You have your convolutional neural networks. And you also have your linear neural networks. And a lot of this is based on your activation function. So let's see if I can pull up a very beautiful picture of a linear neural network. This is the most basic iteration. Let's pull one up right away. And let's find one that's highly detailed so you can see the activation functions. Okay, I guess a logistical regression iteration would work. So with logistic regression, if you all have any experience in statistics, so with logistic regression, that primarily deals with binary data. So that's your zeros and ones. When you are utilizing a logistical regression analysis on a neural network, essentially you'll be using what is called a sigmoid. That is SIGMOID, sigmoid neural network. And that sigmoid is the activation function for that particular neural network. Okay, so let me pull up this picture right quick. This is an article, and I can share it in your chat as well, so that you can see the article. I'm going to get this article, and I'm going to share it with you all. And Tijuana, I will be answering Q&As at the very end. So here's the Science Direct article. You can check this out to see some forms of the neural networks. So let me go ahead and share this particular screen. Okay, so you all should be able to see the screen now. So right here you can see one of the artificial neural networks. And essentially, let's zoom in just in case it's small on the screen. Let's zoom in there. So essentially, what you can see here are your weights, okay? And then you can see your bias, okay? So that's of the neural network. And this whole thing here is your neuron. Okay? So this whole thing here is your neuron. Okay? And here you can see the weights of that particular neuron. You can see the bias of that neuron. And when you input your data, it goes through these weights. It's optimized and fit. And then it goes through this particular bias to make sure that there's no under or overfitting. And of course, you can tweak the parameters in your algorithm when you're dealing with your neuron. Okay. So when I say tweak the parameters, that essentially means that once you import that package, so normally we're talking about pandas, we can import another package called Scikit Learn. That is SCIKIT Learn. Scikit Learn. You can download a package called Scikit Learn. And with Scikit Learn, you'll be able to manipulate your neurons near instantaneously. Scikit Learn has a couple of different functions that you can utilize to alter and perfect your neuron function. Okay.
Hey, Niko, I think this would be a great place for us to take a couple of questions. We have a couple of questions in the chat on where this would be applicable at work. When would you be inputting a package for a data set that would go through this neural network?
Right. So essentially, when you would use this neural network, will be when you want to look at, let's say, for example, predictive model. So let's say that one summer you had a high rate of clients. Everyone was buying. Let's say this is for e-commerce company. So everyone just started buying the shoes from your company versus the t-shirts. You were very curious as to, why this particular year is everyone buying the shoes versus the other year? Will this continue in the next year? So you decide to collect all the data from your database to see the trends for that particular year. So you take the data from the past 10 years, and then you see while you're doing your data exploration and visualization that there is some type of uptick in the sales of the shoes. So then you decide to say, how about we conduct a predictive model here on the sales of shoes? Yes, you can use a linear model for that. So you don't have to worry about creating a very complex activation function. You can just use a linear activation function for that particular analysis. Now, of course, you'll need your dependent and independent variables when you're doing it. So you have to decide which two variables you want to look at. So, of course, one will be the sales of shoes. And then the second one can essentially be, let's see, what would be another good variable to have for the sales of shoes? Oh, you can look at the location of your particular client. Okay? And so if you see, a lot of people from New York City are buying these particular shoes, let's predict how many people from New York City will purchase these shoes in the next year. So you'll collect all of that data, you'll put it through a linear regression model, and then you'll put it through the predict function of scikit learn. After you do that, it'll trigger that linear regression activation function and provide you with your output. Now, before you saw it in the slides, so let's go back to the slides. Okay, so before you saw in the slides that the data will need to be trained, tested, and then fit. Okay. So there's a package within scikit-learn that's called train, test, and then split. So it splits that data. It's usually 30% test data, 70% train data. So first you'll train that data. You'll train the system on that data. Then afterwards, you'll have that data tested. Okay? And this will give you your what we call accuracy score for the prediction. All right. That accuracy score it should be in the range of at least 85 to 93. If you have the accuracy score at 100%, your data will be classified as overfitting. And you do not want your data to be overfitting. You want it to be a proper fit. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what metrics are required to be underfitting? For that data to be underfitting, it need to be well below 70%. So, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. anywhere around there would be classified as understated data. Okay. And once you run your algorithm in scikit-learn and you get your accuracy score, it will look at that score. If it's at 90% and your data visualization is showing that there will be an uptrend in the sales receipts from the New York customers, then you have your result then. In other cases, it may not show that there's an uptrend for the prediction. In other cases, it may show that there's a downtrend, or the sales will be constant for the previous year. So always double check your data. There are a plethora of different accuracy parameters out there that are pre-installed into the scikit-learn system that you can analyze. So look into that package after this. Look into scikit-learn, study scikit-learn, and that'll give you a nice start on machine learning with Python. Okay? And so we just explained the predictive modeling part for machine learning, but we didn't explain the supervised and unsupervised. So supervised learning is essentially when you're there, and you are guiding the system with the data and telling the system what each data point is. That is supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is when you are not providing the system with what each data point is. So let's say you have a table, right? And you have different columns. For each of those different columns, they'll say, let's go back to the e-commerce example. They'll say this particular column is foods, this particular column is research, other is accessories. When you're doing an unsupervised learning analysis, with machine learning, that system does not know that each of those columns are keys or shirts or accessories. Instead, it's just giving you generalized data. Okay? And when you run that unsupervised learning algorithm, it is doing what we call a classification analysis. It will take all the data points from the center and will put it into a big cluster. So let's go ahead and pull up a picture of the supervised or the supervised area. I know we're running on time, so I will get the dishes here. Okay, so here's the supervised and unsupervised learning. Here you can see that the data is unlabeled data, and it's put into those clusters, and it's by similarity. Okay, so that's the unsupervised learning. Another thing is dimensionality with reduction, which is very, very important in the data. So dimensions, when you look at your data, you can make a table like that you have in Excel. So the Excel table will have multiple columns. Those columns are also known as your dimensions. Okay? And if you have too many columns and you're conducting an analysis, it can cause something called the curse of dimensionality. And that's here on this slide here, the curse of dimensionality. The curse of dimensionality will pretty much skew your data and not provide you with the accuracies that you're looking for. So it's essential to perform a dimensionality reduction analysis so that you can, one, get rid of some of those columns, and two, have a more precise analysis of whatever you're exploring. So that's dimensionality reduction. Okay? And that's a part of unsupervised learning. The linear regression, logistic regression, that we explained previously was the supervised learning. Okay? You're providing the system what everything is. Okay? And remember, machine learning is the basis for artificial intelligence. Going deep into deep learning language models, and generative pre-trained transformers, which is GPT, the now popular ChatGPT. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to the cybersecurity risk management. We're running low on time. So with cybersecurity risk management, It is very, very crucial for anyone, any sector of the tech industry to have some experience with cybersecurity risk management. It focuses on detecting and also mitigating cyber attacks in anything. So, with the cybersecurity risk management, with its roles and tasks, there are many things that you can do. You can do infrastructure inspections, seeing what type of antivirus environment you're using, seeing what type of systems you're using, are they updated? Are they still using Internet Explorer in 2024? Yes, I have encountered people that are still using Internet Explorer in 2024, and that is a major cyber risk. So if any of you all are using Internet Explorer, please upgrade. But nonetheless, there are other sectors of cybersecurity risk management that are important, such as contingency planning. Contingency plans are crucial for mitigating any types of attacks before those attacks happen. That's what the contingency plan is. The incident response reports, on the other hand, are the reports that you'll send to clientele after an attack has happened, and you'll also provide to them essentially some details on how to prevent that attack from happening again. There's also the network analysis. It's essentially checking which IP addresses are on that particular network. If there are any anomalies on that network, we want to eradicate those IP addresses and do a deep analysis into them. All right. And then there's the law and policy environments, HIPAA regulations, and so forth, CIPA or COPA for the education field. You want to make sure that whatever data that the client is dealing with, that they are abiding those particular rules. And then, of course, there's the risk mitigation planning and the penetration testing. When you have a red team engagement, and they essentially, the red team tries to hack the system, the blue team defends. And no matter what tech field you're going into, especially if you're going into data science or software engineering, and so forth, you should have at least some of this knowledge under your belt. So it's very, very crucial. Okay. And we do have an upcoming course starting on June 3rd. This is a comprehensive data science and cybersecurity training. It's a 12-week course. There are 24 sessions. And you also have a capstone project that you can put in a system called GitHub. GitHub is pretty much the resume for coders. So you can use GitHub to get almost any job. And you'll also be provided a certificate at the end of this course and preparation for your cybersecurity risk management framework certification all in time. Okay. Also, you'll get your hands-on experience with artificial intelligence and data science via the capstone project. Okay. So here's the QR code. If you have your cell phone memory, be sure to scan the QR code so you can take it to the platform and check out all the details of the course. All right. And that transitions us over to Q&A. So any questions, everyone? Any questions about any of the content covered today?
More questions on the machine learning. They wanted to know how much of this would be covered in the course and how much of the risk management training would be covered in the course.
Oh, absolutely. So with the machine learning, so with this particular course, essentially you'll be taken from the very beginning of coding all the way up to machine learning. So that's the artificial intelligence portion. So when I say the very beginning, you'll be taught the basics of Python coding. You'll be taught how to write strings, tuples. You'll be taught the difference between the different types of dictionaries that are out there. You'll be taught the data exploration and visualization and manipulation that was discussed earlier in the presentation. And then you'll be taken to the more advanced portion, which is the machine learning portion, where you will dive deep into the neural network. You will learn the intricacies of the neuron, all the way from those weights to the biases. You'll learn about bias variance trade-off, which is very important in statistics. And then you will learn how to manipulate the different types of activation functions to get the best result that you're looking for, let's say, a predictive model. As for the capstone project of this particular course, we will be focusing on the stock market. So that's focusing directly on the money. A lot of jobs out here, especially with the banks, they're looking for people who have skills in the stock market. So by completing this capstone project, you may be able to get a job with Goldman Sachs or another big bank out there uh, through your uh, through your GitHub presentation. Okay. So any other questions here? Yes, Tijuana.
Hey, so how are you? So I have heard of Python. Haven't used it in depth, but I wanted to know how do you see Python being beneficial in the vulnerability and threat hunting area in cybersecurity.
Yes. So Python can definitely be used for cybersecurity analyses. In fact, there are systems out there, such as Wireshark, for example, where you can have a terminal and you can input Python code to determine which particular IP addresses you want to filter and examine. You can also download reports from such systems, TF6 or Wireshark, where you can utilize the data downloaded from those systems in Python to do an entire data analysis on, any spoofers or individuals that are looking to bypass the network on any weird queries. That's another thing you can search for with the system's queries. Uh, with the particular queries that are out there, you can see if someone's trying to determine how to bypass your system. Because a lot of the hackers, what they'll do, they'll get into your network and then they'll start Googling ways to get into your system even deeper. So you can look at the query data with your Python code, and you can manipulate it. You can make figures and more. So there's a lot that you can do with Python when it comes to the cybersecurity and the load support. All right. So any other questions from there?
Well, there are no more questions on my end. I think this is a great place for us to wrap, and we will have a follow-up session next week, and I guess that will come out shortly.
Absolutely. All right. So that concludes everything for this evening, everyone. I will post my email as well. So you guys can reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Contact me at Orboltix.com. Reach out here if you have any questions or concerns regarding the modern job market. If you have any questions or concerns regarding AI field, feel free to reach out here, and we'll be sure to respond as soon as possible with any assistance that you may need. And also be sure to check out the course because we will be going deeper into everything, significantly deeper into everything with the course. All right. So thank you, everyone. And we don't want to keep you any longer. We are well over the time. And have a great evening. Hey, Asia. Yeah, that was awesome. We got over a lot of stuff in 30 minutes. I could have went hours. Right. Yeah.
question right now. One question, like I don't want it to be like,